Welcome to IE News and to our viewers on IETVTT.com. I'm Micah Dumé. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar says Trinidad and Tobago not being sidelined amid Venezuela CARICOM engagements. University of Trinidad and Tobago students head to Mexico for international study tour. Anaruka man Randy Permanand shot dead in apparent targeted attack in Five Rivers. In our top story, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar says Trinidad and Tobago is not being sidelined despite a series of high-level engagements between Venezuela and other Caribbean nations. Here's more. The Prime Minister's comments come as Venezuela's acting President Delcy Rodriguez continues diplomatic outreach across the region, including recent visits to Barbados and Grenada. During those visits, discussions have centered on energy cooperation, food production, trade, and regional connectivity as Venezuela seeks to strengthen partnerships across the Caribbean. However, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar dismissed suggestions that Trinidad and Tobago has been left out, stating that engagement with Caracas remains active through diplomatic channels. She noted that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continues to maintain regular contact with Venezuelan officials with ongoing discussions on key areas of mutual interest. The Prime Minister also pointed to evolving regional dynamics, explaining that Venezuela's leadership is now broadening its engagement across the Caribbean following earlier restrictions on international travel. She maintained that Trinidad and Tobago remains confident in its relationship with Venezuela as dialogue and cooperation continue behind the scenes. Students of the University of Trinidad and Tobago are set to benefit from international exposure as a group prepares to travel to Mexico for a one-week study tour. The initiative is aimed at exposing participants to global best practices, particularly in manufacturing and entrepreneurship. Officials say the experience will help build local capacity by allowing students to engage with industry leaders, observe innovative production methods, and explore emerging business models. The tour also forms part of broader efforts to equip young professionals with the skills and knowledge needed to compete in an increasingly globalized economy. Organizers believe the program will not only enhance academic learning, but also foster innovation and entrepreneurial thinking among participants.
Purpose be to expose students to international best practices. If we want to export to the world, we must understand how the world works and what the practices there. But I want to point out this, that the graduates of this program, because it was set up to help in the diversification, to date, there are some 50 companies, sole proprietorships, and limited liabilities companies that were started by graduates of this program. So the program is contributing to development, diversification, and job creation.
A 31-year-old man has been shot and killed following a brazen attack in Five Rivers, Aruca. The victim, identified as Randy Permanand, also known as Aki, of Savannah Road, was targeted on Tuesday evening along Valencia Drive. Reports indicate that around 5:50 p.m., multiple gunshots rang out as Permanand was seen running along the roadway while being chased by masked gunmen dressed in dark clothing. Moments later, further shots were heard and the victim was found lying motionless in the driveway of a nearby property. Officers from the Aruca Police Station, supported by the North Central Division Task Force, responded and rushed Permanand to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Crime scene investigators processed the area, collecting evidence as part of the ongoing probe. Police say investigations are continuing into what appears to be a targeted killing. We pause for a moment. More news when we come back.
Perfection doesn't happen by chance. Like an artist, the cook selects the main ingredient, one that is worthy of a proud cultural tradition. Trusted to enhance your creations with its richness and versatility. To create a cooking masterpiece, the secret is simple. The brand we know, the brand we trust, the brand our ancestors have been using for generations.
There is only one pure cow brand ghee. Look for the marks of authenticity.
Tile Expressions Limited, as one of the largest importers of tiles, offers an extensive range of high-quality tiles in ceramic, porcelain, granite, stone, and mosaic options. Additionally, we offer a variety of tile accessories and bathroom sets to complement any decor style. We are committed to providing exceptional customer service and swift delivery of all products. From indoor and outdoor tiles to bathroom sets and tile accessories, we have curated a range that caters to both traditional and modern taste. Lampus 13, Ajudha Road, Munro Road, Canopio. Call 223-8453.
Welcome back. The Water and Sewerage Authority has launched a nationwide cleanup and desettling program aimed at reducing flooding ahead of the rainy season. Public Utilities Minister Barry Padarath says the initiative forms part of a coordinated effort involving WASA, regional corporations, and the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. The program targets flood-prone communities with crews clearing drains and watercourses that are often impacted during periods of heavy rainfall. Initial works began in Barataria Sawa and have since expanded to areas in Kuva South, including Dow Village, Bukaru, Balmain, and Calcutta. Minister Padarath says the exercise will continue over the coming weeks, bringing relief to communities that experience annual flooding. He added that the program also addresses long-standing infrastructure issues, including repairs to aging pipelines that contribute to leaks and water loss. The initiative is supported by WASA's specialized equipment, including vacuum units and gully suckers, which are being deployed in high-risk areas. Officials say the cleanup campaign will continue to expand to additional constituencies as authorities work to mitigate the impacts of the rainy season. Customers of Republic Bank Limited will face higher banking costs from Friday, following a sweeping increase in fees across a range of everyday services. The adjustments impact both routine transactions and penalty charges, with notable hikes for overdrafts, insufficient funds, and late loan payments. NSF fees will rise from $34.50 to $57.50, while overdraft charges increase from $30 to $57.50. Some late payment penalties on loans are also set to double, reaching as much as $100. In addition, certain debit transactions that previously allowed a limited number of free withdrawals will now attract per transaction fees. The increases come amid concerns that commercial banks may be passing on costs following government's introduction of a 0.25% asset levy. Finance Minister Devendranath Tanku had defended the measure in the national budget, citing strong profitability, high liquidity, and continued growth within the banking sector. Despite this, he noted that many citizens continue to face what he described as unreasonably high fees alongside low returns on savings. Meanwhile, Republic Financial Holdings reported profits of $2.2 billion for the year ending September 2025, reflecting continued growth in the sector. The fee increases are expected to take effect immediately, adding pressure on customers already navigating rising living costs. In the Senate on Wednesday, Minister of Culture Michelle Benjamin outlined the government's position on a motion addressing the future of Carnival. The minister indicated that while the administration supports the first proposal in principle, it does disagree with the call for a national colloquium. Her position signals that the government recognizes the need for structured development and long-term planning for Carnival, but differs on the approach to achieving that goal. The debate forms part of a broader national discussion on how to sustain and modernize Carnival while preserving its cultural and economic value.
Mr. President, let me state the government's position clearly for those opposite. The motion before this Honorable Senate contains two distinct operative limbs. The first limb calls upon this Senate to urge the government to take steps toward the sustainable development of Carnival as a national cultural and economic enterprise, including strengthening institutional coordination, policy planning, infrastructure, skills development, inclusive participation in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, including the National Carnival Commission. The second limb, Mr. President, calls for the government to convene, and they give time frame, within 6 months in national colloquium on the future of Carnival and related cultural events to facilitate structured national dialogue and to make recommendations for a long-term strategy to secure the cultural, economic, and institutional sustainability of Carnival. Mr. President. However, Mr. President, the government does not support the second limb, but we support the first limb in principle. For all that was stated, that is good, and once you're Trini, we all love.
Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Edward Alexander, shared an update on the Office of the Procurement Regulator, noting that all 11 complaints filed with the OPR have been dismissed. He reiterated that all actions within the HCC are being conducted with the utmost transparency and that this commitment will continue.
I am coming to you from the Ministry of Housing, and I wanted to give you some information with regards to the OPR, and because I had promised to keep Trinidad and Tobago in the loop, and I want to give you some information. 11 complaints that were filed in the OPR were dismissed this morning. And that's just to remind you that everything that we are doing here in this Ministry of Housing, at this Housing Development Corporation, under the government led by Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC, everything is going to be transparent. Everything is going to be above board. And I just wanted to keep you in the loop in case you don't get it from the media or otherwise.
You're watching IE News. We'll return after these messages.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canoopia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Are you renewing your motor, homeowner or business insurances shortly? Then call Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, for a competitive quote. With 2 locations, Todd Street, El Socorro and 5 Rivers, Aruca. Please call us at 221-5051 or 227-5051. Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, building relationships exceeding expectations.
Welcome back. Minister of Education Michael Daulath says the introduction of AI-supported learning materials is part of a wider plan to modernize and strengthen the national education system. Here's more. Speaking at a spoken word and poetry competition in Pointe-a-Pierre, Dr. Daulath emphasized that the initiative is designed to ensure equal access to high-quality learning resources for all students, particularly those who are most vulnerable. He explained that the AI tools are fully aligned with the ministry's curriculum and work alongside the government's laptop initiative to create a more standardized learning experience across schools. The minister also outlined proposed changes to curriculum delivery, including the possible introduction of continuous assessment at the primary level to ease the pressure of the secondary entrance assessment. He said the reforms are aimed at maintaining academic standards while placing greater focus on students' overall development beyond the classroom. Dr. Daulath further highlighted improvements to student support services, noting that data-driven approaches are being used to assist students with learning challenges, including autism and ADHD. He added that a recently launched National School Code of Conduct will help guide behavior, while support systems are also being strengthened for parents and educators as part of the broader reform agenda.
The AI-supported learning materials that we are providing are especially for all students. It's aligned to the Ministry of Education curriculum. And we are ensuring that all students, especially those who are vulnerable, will have the same standard of learning materials throughout the education system in Trinidad and Tobago. This goes in tandem with our laptop initiative. So that at the Ministry of Education, we are looking at all of the reforms to maintain the standards in terms of curriculum delivery, but also to ensure that the students at the center of it, they find time to engage in activities beside the academics where they can holistically develop themselves. We are looking now at the data that we collected from all the schools, those students who have learning challenges, those who are autistic, those who have ADHD. We are using various strategies for their academic success, but also to recently we launched the National School Code of Conduct to help them to understand how to behave within the context of the school environment.
Let's now take a look at some international news.
Tonight, former FBI Director James Comey, again in the sights of the Justice Department, indicted for a second time, now accused of threatening to kill President Trump. A federal grand jury in North Carolina charging Comey with 2 counts, alleging that Comey did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States.
Threatening the life of the President of the United States will never be tolerated by the Department of Justice.
The indictment centers around this since-deleted Instagram post from Comey showing the numbers 8647, written in seashells on the beach, with the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Trump's supporters immediately condemned that post, claiming it was a call to 86 or kill the 47th president. Prosecutors claim that post is a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the president. But Comey immediately deleted that post, writing, quote, "I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." And tonight, Comey is firing back.
I'm still innocent, I'm still not afraid, and I still believe in the independent federal judiciary, so let's go.
Legal experts say the government faces an incredibly high bar.
It can't just be something where someone might have interpreted it in a particular way. He has to have intended it to have been a threat for this to be a successful prosecution.
Trump and Comey have been political adversaries for years. Just last fall, the president demanding the Justice Department take action against some of his enemies, New York Attorney General Letitia James and Comey among them. Comey and James were indicted last year, but both their cases were thrown out on a technicality. Frustrated at the lack of prosecutions, President Trump fired Attorney General Pam Bondi earlier this month, announcing that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was also his former criminal attorney, would take over the Justice Department in an acting capacity.
Mr. Speaker, Their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla.
A historic moment tonight at the US Capitol. King Charles in a packed bipartisan chamber, here to repair the strained US-UK alliance after President Trump had been deeply critical of Britain for not joining the war in Iran.
We meet in times of great uncertainty.
The King here just days after an assassination attempt on President Trump.
We meet, too, in the aftermath of the incident not far from this great building that sought to harm the leadership of your nation. Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed.
Charles is the first monarch to address a joint meeting since his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, in 1991. The King is here to mark America's 250th anniversary.
The Founding Fathers were bold and imaginative rebels with a cause. 250 years ago, or as we say in the United Kingdom, just the other day, they declared independence.
There were pointed moments, the King honouring the Founding Fathers' belief in life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and the belief that our leaders should be held to account.
The principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances.
The King reminded the world it was NATO allies who were there for the United States after 9/11 and said we must now all be there for Ukraine.
Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine and her most courageous people.
The King, a longtime champion for the environment, spoke of America's natural wonders.
As we look toward the next 250 years, we must also reflect on our shared responsibility to safeguard nature, our most precious and irreplaceable asset.
And in his final message to lawmakers, in a deeply divided time, he said that words matter, but that the actions of the US matter even more.
America's words carry weight and meaning, as they have since independence. The actions of this great nation matter even more.
And this message as we near America's 250th birthday.
And so to the United States of America, on your 250th birthday, let our two countries rededicate ourselves to each other in the selfless service of our peoples and of all the peoples of the world. God bless the United States, and God bless the United Kingdom.
When we return, your weather update and more, stay tuned.
Let's do India and Nepal, a soulful journey across timeless destinations. Delhi, Kathmandu, Varanasi, Ayodhya, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Agra, and Jaipur. August 12th to 28th. Presented by Pandit Omarat. Call 681-3476 to book now. Not just a trip, it's a spiritual and cultural experience.
In our lives, there are moments that need to be remembered. Are you hosting a Ramayan Yagya, religious or cultural event or celebration? Would you like to have it aired live on IETV or recorded for playback later? We will air your program on IETV and IE Radio, with your viewers joining locally and internationally. Your family and friends worldwide can view on www.ietvtt.com or listen on ieradiott.com. To make arrangements, call or WhatsApp IETV at 784-9880. Let us record your cherished moments and share it.
Welcome back to IE's Major News. Let's take a look at today's weather forecast. Today was generally partly cloudy to sunny across Trinidad and Tobago, with warm and humid conditions prevailing throughout the day. During the afternoon, there were periods of increased cloudiness, which brought isolated to scattered showers mainly across central, eastern, and southern districts, while other areas remained mostly fair. Daytime temperatures reached around 32 to 33 degrees in Trinidad and near 31 in Tobago. Winds were light to moderate from the east at 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. Sea conditions were slight to moderate, with waves between 1.0 and 1.5 meters in open waters and below 1 meter in sheltered areas. Sea levels remained within normal limits. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to mostly cloudy, with a few brief showers, particularly during the late evening and early morning hours. Conditions will remain warm and humid, with overnight temperatures settling around 24 to 25 degrees. Winds will remain light to moderate from the east, while seas continue slight to moderate, with waves near 1.0 to 1.5 meters. Sea levels are expected to remain normal, though slightly choppy conditions are possible in open waters. For Thursday, expect partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy skies, with isolated to scattered showers developing during the evening, especially across central and southern Trinidad, while Tobago and northern areas should remain mostly fair. Temperatures are forecast to reach around 32 degrees in Trinidad and near 31 in Tobago, with humid conditions continuing. Winds will be east to east, northeasterly at 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, and seas will remain slight to moderate, with waves up to 1.5 meters in open waters and around 1 meter in sheltered areas, while sea levels remain within the normal range. Let's take a look at some crime news. The police officer has appeared before the Port of Spain Masters Court in connection with a common assault charge arising from an investigation conducted by the Special Victims Department. The accused, Dextroy Manswell, 43-year-old, appeared on April 21st before Master Valerie Gomez Abraham. He was granted bail in the sum of $50,000 with surety, subject to strict conditions. These conditions include no direct or indirect contact with the complainant, maintaining a distance of 200 feet at all times, and residing at a direct address for the duration of the matter. The matter was adjourned to May 28th. The charge follows an investigation into an incident alleged to have occurred on April 1st, 2025. According to reports, the victim was slapped by the accused, who also threatened the victim with a firearm. Investigations were conducted by the Special Victims Department under the supervision of Inspector Darren Batiste. A file was submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, which advised that the charge be laid. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service reaffirms its commitment to ensuring that all matters are dealt with in accordance with due process and the rule of law. One man has been arrested and quantities of cannabis seized during anti-crime operations conducted in the Northern Division over the past 48 hours. Between the hours of 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., officers of the Northern Division Task Force, supported by the K9 unit, conducted a house search exercise at a residence located along Maturita Trace Extension, Arima. During the operation, officers discovered and seized approximately 511 grams of cannabis. A 48-year-old male resident of the address was arrested in connection with the find in a separate exercise conducted between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. On 22nd April, officers of the Northern Division Task Force proceeded to an area along Arima Old Road. While there, a white-coloured shack and its surrounding bushy terrain were searched. During the exercise, officers discovered and seized approximately 689 grams of cannabis. Investigations into both matters are ongoing. A 23-year-old Moruga man has been found guilty in connection with a report of larceny made on Friday, 17th April in the Moruga district. The 51-year-old man of Jackson Street, Woodlawn, reported that on 8th April, he received information that unknown persons were removing parts from his 320 CL excavator located at Maitland Trace, Bastia, Moruga. The items stolen included an excavator turbo, a fuel pump, a turbo manifold, and approximately 12 feet of track totaling 17,500 TTD. Further information received led the victim to an address at La Fortune Trace, Moruga, on 9th April 2026, where he observed the missing items. Inquiries conducted by PC Dukaran of the Moruga Police Station resulted in the arrest of one 23-year-old suspect of La Fortune Trace, Moruga. Officers also recovered an excavator turbo and approximately 12 feet of track. The matter was heard at the South Jeepa Court before Master Grey, where the accused J.Hugh Buchun pleaded guilty and was granted bail with surety in the sum of $55,000. As part of bail conditions, the accused is required to reside at his home address and report to the Moruga Police Station on given days. The matter has since been transferred to the Princestown District Court. The next hearing is scheduled for 26 May 2026. Recapping the headlines, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar says Trinidad and Tobago not being sidelined amid Venezuela CARICOM engagements. The University of Trinidad and Tobago students head to Mexico for international student tour. Aruka man Randy Permanand shot dead in apparent targeted attack in Five Rivers. Well, this is where we leave you for now. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Micah Dume. Thank you for joining us.